What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like things are picking up in terms of rumors around Nikola Vucevic getting traded, I guess, out of the Chicago Bulls. And by any means now, at any day, a trade could happen. We've already seen it with what happened with Desmond Bane. Could be quite interesting to see if something else may happen in terms of a different trade, and maybe Nikola Vucevic could be involved in that trade. Is it an ideal situation, and which teams are actually heating up those rumors? Which teams are being linked? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And all these things, let's discuss it in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, Nikola Vucevic, and which teams would you like to see him go to, and ultimately, are you excited about the rumored teams that are interested? Now, before we get any further, you could probably tell, maybe you can't, the lighting is a tad bit different from what you normally come to see. The light that I normally have behind me did, sadly, been 3 years, stopped working. So now I'm using some LED lights that I had from a long time ago, and there's shadows. You can see the shadow behind me. It's going to be a bit annoying, but until I can get it replaced, you're going to have to deal with it, okay? All right, thumbs up. Let's get started. All right, Nikola Vucevic, let's talk about it. So, first things first, trade talks are very interesting right now because obviously Desmond Bane being traded for, I believe, 4 first-round picks is a sign of what the market is to come. You know, it's a sign of what we're going to see in the upcoming trade period. Every trade period, we always look for the first one, and ultimately, that was the first one that really made big headlines in the NBA, and it will play a factor for every team going forward. It will play a factor with the Nikola Vucevic trade. It will play a factor for any other trade that the Bulls decide to do. So now that we're hearing talks about Vucevic trades, you know, piling up a little bit, I think that is the reason why. It is because a trade has happened, and now other trades are now starting to circulate. So Nikola Vucevic being traded is no surprise, if it does happen. He's made it very clear he wants to compete for a championship. He's not getting any younger. We've made it very clear we're probably not in that direction at the moment. It just doesn't make sense to keep Nikola Vucevic here for the long term. It's very clear as well with where we're heading in the NBA draft that we are seeking probably young, big men help. So someone that can maybe fit the timeline could be ideal. So there's no complaints, no issues whatsoever in that regard. I think it's very clear Nikola Vucevic wants to go. I think it's very clear the Bulls are looking to shop him. Whether or not we can get it done during the offseason is more of an interesting task, but more rumors circulate, the higher the probability. At the end of the day, one rumor is probably true. You know, when you see so many rumors about so many different teams and so many different areas, at least one of them is bound to be true. I can't believe everything we've seen about Nikola Vucevic is going to be false. So, you know, more speculation probably means something is about to happen. But with that being said, which teams are rumored? Well, there's one team that's really interested in Nikola Vucevic, and apparently it's a team we've talked about already. It's the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are interested in Nikola Vucevic, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, in hindsight, it makes sense because the Bulls are interested in Jonathan Kuminga. So we've made this video before in a nutshell. We've talked about both of these players and the ideal trade situation before. And if you want to know what I think about that, I could put it to you plainly as this. I said in the last video, I don't think a trade like this will happen because I don't think the Warriors would want to take the risk financially on Nikola Vucevic. Yes, he's on an expiring contract, but it's $20 million to add on to the roster they've already got, and maybe even the Bulls wouldn't want to put a risk on the restricted free agent, Jonathan Kuminga, that's going to be seeking quite a bit of money in this offseason. Now, maybe that's not the case because he only played half the season. I think he played 46 games, Kuminga did. And all that being said, maybe that is definitely an advantage for us in terms of restricted free agency. Regardless of how it goes, I can see why they're interested. I just don't know if financially they'll take the risk on it. But the more that we hear about it, the more likely something can happen there. So we can talk about Jonathan Kuminga a little bit. We already know what he's good at. He's a very good offensive player, very good at slashing to the rim, a good forward, can provide a little bit of defensive prowess as well. has the potential to grow even bigger as a player in a different environment. There are many, many Warriors fans that say that Jonathan Kuminga is being held back by the Golden State Warriors. There have been many people that say Steve Kerr is not the best player development coach, and that's why a lot of young players have stunted growth with that current team. And it makes sense because they're trying to go for a championship. They have the system in place. They've always had the same system. And with Stephen Curry still around, playing at a high level, Jimmy Butler now there, Draymond Green being the defensive juggernaut, of course they're going to try to go for it again. And player development is not probably the best factor in their system at the moment. So Jonathan Kuminga coming to an environment where a team is young and there's opportunities to play your style, and we don't necessarily have the infrastructure yet to compete for championships, it would be an ideal situation for Kuminga to go to. And with Vucevic, he's going to go to an established team, an established core, a core that could very much use a 7-foot big man to switch things up a little bit every now and then, and he'll very well be the starting center for the Golden State Warriors. It makes sense for both sides in that regard. I completely understand it from that point of view, and the rumors are suggesting that both teams seem to understand it too. So with that being said, has my mind changed on the idea of Jonathan Kuminga to the Bulls? Do I think it's not going to happen? Do I think it will happen? All the rumors suggesting one way or another, really. Look, rumors are one thing. I'm going to stick to my guns here. Now, I think there are many people that are now starting to believe we will get Jonathan Kuminga. I still don't think the Bulls or the Warriors will come to an agreement. I think there'll be a lot of talks. I think there'll be high interest, but I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. But I would like a Jonathan Kuminga. You know, towards the end of that video when I talked about him, I actually got very intrigued with a starting lineup of Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Matas Buzelis, Jonathan Kuminga, and maybe a center we get in the NBA draft. Hopefully it's a guy like Asa Noel, or even just any center out there that we're looking at the moment, you know. That could be a very intriguing young core that we could play with. And it's a young core that I could definitely see a future in. It's interesting to me. It really, really is. Is it a team that's going to win a championship? No. But is it a team that could be competitive? Maybe. Maybe. But with Nikola Vucevic leaving, you have to understand you are losing valuable offense. You're losing a playmaking center in that position. You are losing a three-point shooter that he shot his highest efficiency last season with the Chicago Bulls. You're losing a post threat. You're losing a double team option. There's a lot you lose with Nikola Vucevic. I hit the mic. I'm sorry. I'm just so emphatic here. But you lose a lot with Nikola Vucevic leaving. And we can't ignore something like that. We just can't. You know, like I can't be on the bandwagon of we're going to instantly win more games if we trade Nikola Vucevic for Jonathan Kuminga, because we lose so much there. But you're hoping that what we get in return is better for the long term. If that's the case, let it be so, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I still think it's going to be very difficult to accomplish, and I still think there will be hesitations for both teams. More from the Bulls side, I would say, than the Golden State Warriors side, because I think they need to get rid of Kuminga, and getting Nikola Vucevic in makes sense for them. For the Bulls, I think it's a little bit more skeptical. Kuminga's a good player, would definitely fit the system, would definitely play well. Do they want to get rid of Nikola Vucevic? I honestly don't know. So we'll end it there, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about it enough. We don't need to talk about it again. But I'm glad rumors are picking up. There's also rumors Jonathan Kuminga is being linked to the Miami Heat. Which could be quite interesting. Maybe that means a Bam Adebayo goes to the Golden State Warriors. I don't personally think that will happen. I think it's very clear that the Heat will keep Bam and maybe trade other assets. I don't know. I can't see Kuminga being the big talking point if Bam gets traded. You know what I mean? You'd expect more out of a Bam Adebayo trade than Jonathan Kuminga. So maybe the Bulls are still the likely option in that regard too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.